So once I trained a cat to use the toilet. Yeah, like for real. I know it sounds strange, but for me, my cats really weren't just pets. They were my babies. And I didn't have just one cat, I had four. Their names were Maximum, Minimum, Medium, and Mediocre. Maximum was my big black cat. He was huge, big short hair, black fur, and he was the one that walked around like he owned the place. Yeah, Maximum walked into the room. He was like he owned the room. But Minimum, she was the opposite. She was tiny, completely white, even at full grown, she was really small. She was soft, white, fluffy fur, and she was so much smaller than Maximum. Maximum definitely like bossed her around and everything, but she had an amazing personality. Then later we got two more kittens and I named them Medium and Mediocre. But that was kind of around the time that my dad was getting sick. And so honestly, I didn't really get to know them that well or get to play with them that much. Um, Somehow he ended up bringing two more kittens home. I know my mom wasn't very thrilled about that. And I think at this point she had already thought about leaving. And she was probably like, oh, great. Now we have two more cats running in the house. And I don't think our dog Tree Jones was very happy about that either. He wasn't so thrilled with the cats, but he tolerated them, and he was a really nice black lab with a little bit of white beard or under his neck, like going down his neck. It was super awesome dog. I loved him so much. But I was thrilled, of course. I had my cats, and I wasn't really aware of all the things going on. I mean, I knew my dad was a little off, but that happened. So everything I did with my cats. If I was in my room, they were in my room. If I was sitting on the floor playing with something, they were right there by me. I always kind of wanted to have a baby sibling to play with and care for. And I loved taking care of and nurturing babies and animals and pretty much anything smaller than me. And I always kind of wanted my mom to have another baby. But since she didn't, my cats were my babies. I knew their attitudes, what they liked, what they didn't like. I watched them. I loved playing with them. I even dressed them. I would go to Goodwill or garage sales and pick up clothes for them. And uh, if I could get a hold of them and put clothes on them, they had clothes on. Usually, Minimum was pretty good about it. She wore a dress a lot, but I think her being able just to wear a dress was easier. And Maximum, he was so annoyed. And as soon as I would even get the clothes out, he would be running and jumping and trying to get away. So most of the time, he never had to wear clothes. I tried to, but he wouldn't do it. Medium and Mediocre, they were kittens and they weren't really into it. And it was really hard to find clothes small enough to fit my little tiny kittens. So mostly Minimum wore clothes. Those cats all just got so much attention and love and even discipline. I actually treated them like, my kids, and they were going to listen, and I was the boss. So I always like I was checking on them and making sure they were okay and where they were, and they were part of my world. Like I did everything with them. So one time I decided that I was tired of cat boxes and trying and getting up in the middle of the night to let them out. And my parents hated cat boxes, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna train these cats to um, go in the toilet. And So I did, I, like, really worked on it. I, uh, tried to get them to get on the toilet and, like, show them what to do. Sometimes I would actually take their poop and put it in the toilet and, like, show them. I was really into it. And so my cat actually figured it out. Minimum one day, I was noticing that there was cat turds in the toilet. And sure enough, I was kind of like, "Oh my word." And I was showing my parents and everything. We were all like, "Oh my word, your cat is going in the toilet." I'm like, "Yes." But we didn't really know which one it was. So I was kind of calling them and being like, "Was it you? Was it you?" And Minimum comes in the bathroom and walks around like strutting and gets up on the toilet and like walks around it like, "Yep, that was me." And I was just like, "Wow." And often we found poop in the toilet from her. So that was really cool. She looked so proud. I was so proud of her. I think my parents were even proud that I could actually teach my cat to poop in the toilet. They were just they had the best personalities. They were my companions. They were part of my world for sure. And then something happened. So if you've been following me, you probably by now know how my mom, brought us in the kitchen, told us she was getting a divorce. We ended up in the shelter. So when we left our house, I couldn't bring the 4 cats. Like, the shelter didn't have, pets in it. They wouldn't allow pets in it, so we had to leave them, and I was thinking that I would just come back to my cats, but I was still worried, and I was upset that I had to leave them, and I said goodbye to Maximum and Minimum and Medium and Mediocre, and they just, of course, had no idea what was going on. They rubbed my leg and wrapped their tails around me and, meowed like, "See you later." And I really did think actually after going to the shelter, I just thought it would be a little while and I would see them again. But I was really hoping that they had enough food and water, and I remember placing, like, extra food out, and, um, I was hoping my dad would remember to feed them and think about them. And even in the shelter, I often thought about them. I was thinking about where they were and if they were, going getting to go outside and if they were taken care of, if they were scared, did they run away? And my mom kept telling me, "You know what? Cats are tough. They can survive. They'll be fine. They're like survival of the fittest." And of course, I believed her. So it settled my mind. But, you know, I wasn't as worried about minimum and medium. I mean, maximum. Maximum definitely. I knew he could take care of himself. I was a little concerned about minimum, but I figured minimum could handle it. But medium and mediocre was still kittens. So that was a little bit more unsettling. But uh, everything was so unstable. It's hard to just keep your eyes or keep your thoughts on that. So I would definitely, just say, "Yep, my mom's right. They'll be fine." So jump to after the shelter, and we are going back into the house. If you've been following the story, you heard about walking back into that house, what it looked like after my dad flooded it. Well, I wasn't just concerned about my room or my toys. I was worried about my 4 cats, and I was thinking as I was walking through there that I didn't want to have to come upon my cats who got stuck in the flooded house, and I didn't wanna see that I didn't wanna see any fur balls in the corner and or anywhere. I was really nervous that I was gonna see one of my cats. And after walking through there, I was happy to see that my cats weren't anywhere in that house. I kinda looked around for them outside too, but I didn't see them anywhere. I don't know if they were scared and they ran off or they're hiding somewhere. I don't remember anything that really happened with them. Maximum wasn't there, minimum wasn't there, medium and mediocre weren't there. They were just gone. So later, at a different time, in a different place, I heard someone calling my name and letting me know what the real truth, what happened, and where they were. But that's a story all by itself. So check in with me tomorrow. I have more.